What's good with the convicts perspective? It's your boy Flock. Start over.
No, let's run with it, man. It's funny.
Hey, what's good with it, man? We were gonna do a little parody, man. Like we're gonna go, hey brother,
Hey, brother.
what's good with it, brother? But check it out. What's good with it? It's your boy Flacco coming from Convicts Perspective with my co-host, Big Senor Rojo. Smash it through, slide through, as always, saying, what's good with it, brother?
Hey, brother.
And a whole little bit of energy there.
I have a lot. I'm on my third cup of chinati.
Anyways, yeah, this third cup of chinati, man. We're trying to knock this out, man. We got an interesting topic, man. Another controversial topic. We're trying to dive into different topics and different perspectives because, as you already know, this is Convicts Perspective. So take it from there, Rojo.
Yep. So this is another one just for you guys, man. It's things I don't normally address, man. But the request for this particular topic has been overwhelming. I can't just not bring it to you guys, man. A lot of people want to know if these gentlemen that were part of this recent Operation Quiet Storm end up having to do federal time, which more than likely they will. Where do you guys think they'll be housed is what you're asking us. Well, there's a few different scenarios. My main one, man, based on what I've heard and what I gather from different sources that are 100% reliable, it's not going to be all good for them. So they're not, if they go to any of the established federal strongholds, you guys already know what time it is. That's where we're at right now. That could change. There could become communication. There can be reconciliation. It's never done till it's done. But what I was thinking, man, is more than likely they're going to end up on some yards with different kind of alliances, based on what is currently going on in the state with the end of hostilities. I think that might be a branch they try to reach out to, grab a hold of, and continue working with them gentlemen from the other side of the state and function on their yards and continue to move as they've been moving for the last almost a decade now. Now that's my opinion. The other thing is some of them are going to tell. I'm not going to say who, I don't know. But some people are going to tell. 100%, I promise you, there's going to be some talking. Them individuals might try to work a deal where they go back to the state. However, if that's the case, that will backfire because once they cooperate, even though they're part of the state program, they're not going to be looked at favorably unless some really, really groundbreaking thing happens, which I don't see the group on either side of the wall endorsing. That's where I'm at.
There's a whole lot of possible scenarios, though. The feds don't necessarily have to pick up their case. The state doesn't have to, what do you call that? Communicate their sentences to the feds either.
Yeah.
I think the governor Schwarzenegger is the one that communicated their sentences last time and sent them back to the feds. So that's going to be a governor decision, which is going to be a political decision. They're going to play into factor everything that's happened during Operation Black Widow. So they could have just been pulling these guys federally just to slow down their interactions because there's been a lot of gang violence, there's been a lot of killings, there's been all kinds of stuff that's occurred in the last year that's been related to these individuals up there in the state, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when the Fed starts to have blood on their hands and they start to see this, they come and they want to slow everything down. May have been to get those that were out there on the streets, take those in leadership position, and they also could be just to disrupt their functions because they knew what they were doing on these main lines. So there's a possibility that these individuals, even though they've been federally indicted, they could also return to the state prison system.
The thing that's weird about that is California's not going to want to deal with them no more. The feds aren't going to want to take on that responsibility. So there's probably going to have to be some kind of strings pulled by either side, the Federal Bureau of Prisons and their superiors and as well as the state, because the state don't want those guys, bro. Even though they're not necessarily doing anything, they're going to attribute all the violence to them. They're going to contribute everything they can on those certain group of individuals, and they're going to want to get rid of them. The feds don't want that problem because, at this point, it's all bad between two different groups, and they're going to have to find a whole nother institution or at least a yard for them to program.
Well, that's the thing, though. The federal prison system is big. They got prisons in 50 states. You know what I mean? They could send you anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So they could, if they want, they can actually create a yard for these individuals. They could do a whole lot of things. They could sit there and give these guys options. Okay, we're going to put you either here or there. Can you go there? Of course, they can't deny it. You know what I'm saying?
With that, they're going to want something in return as well, you would think, too, though.
That's why I think that they're going to just, I think if they do get the federal sentences, I think a lot of them are going to go to ADX. They got that program, I think it's called the Smooth program or something like that, which is like they keep you there 2 years after you've been in the shoe or once you've been labeled as a gang member. I don't know the whole details. If someone's going to correct me, so please fill me in, man. But
Yeah.
it's a 2-year program, like step down program almost. And that's without debriefing. It's kind of like a step from going from one level tier to a lower tier. Because you have the USPs, you have the medium tiers, you have all these different ones, and then you have, you know what I mean? As far as in the federal prison system. So with the amount of time that these individuals in charge that they're facing, it's going to be a high profile case. So I take it that they're going to probably be put in ADX, the top leadership. Where everyone else goes, I don't know. So there's not as many as the people that have been indicted by the state, right, that were locked up. I think there was only maybe a total of 15 individuals, 4 from the general counsel, 3 were generals. You know, they could take each one of these individuals and put them on different yards all over the place and see what happens. You know what I mean? Because everything that we're saying doesn't mean that this is always, this could be occurring 3-4 years from now. Now, say these dudes hold their mug and they still want to go out there to the yard, they still want to program, they're still saying they're committed to the O, whatever. They can't even admit that they're part of the organization. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to probably go through some type of classification process. And I don't even think the feds really know what they're going to do with this situation. I don't think they know the magnitude of what could occur. You know what I'm saying? Will they be put on the yards with MA and all that? I don't know. Because right now there's no current agreement with the federal faction in there or a lot of these Sureños that are there. You know what I'm saying? That are on these yards. And a lot of them don't forget what happened about 6-8 years ago when they've all been separated. There's still going to be those that are going to harbor animosity. You know what I'm saying? So what happens in the state's the state. The feds is the feds. And these guys in the state are going to have to realize that. You know, what are you going to start having? You're going to put them in position to start a dialogue, you know what I mean? Communicating with each other to see if you guys can coexist. Then basically you're working with the administration. You're working with the Board of Prisons if you're doing that, man. You're going to be classified a traitor because you're allowing them to dictate your program, your functions, whether you're going to be safe to be out there or not, which would be considered a cowardice act.
Right.
So it's really a no-win situation, man. They may test the waters and say, okay, we're going to throw you out there with these guys and see what happens. The feds, you don't know. The feds, one thing about the feds is once violence starts to occur, they eventually separate you. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? They got tons of prisons, man, the feds, man. So even if they want to, they may say, you know, we're all going to just put these guys all on one yard over here with some people that we think they can program with.
See, I think one thing though, man, is you know, if you look at it in California with what's happened over the last 10 years and the ability to coexist and all that stuff, I mean, California, no matter what, is always going to be the main ground for both groups. Yeah, the feds control whatever they control nationwide and whatever, and they have a hand in California. But California is home base for the North and the South, MA and NF. I would think that with these guys coming from the state, the California's influence within the feds, obviously, because man, all them big homies from down south are gonna be from California. There might be 1 or 2 from different states, but the overwhelming majority is from California. And if they wish to continue to have peaceful things, man, they might say, hey, we're cool with you guys, with your faction, so to speak. You guys are more than welcome to come out here and we'll run it just like we do in the state.
But see, that's what both sides have said this from the get-go. They said there's no 2 factions. There's only one NF. Both sides have both said that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a lot of alliances being built right now. There's a lot of relationships with other groups. And so you got to take that into a factor. Saying,
Yeah.
the feds have established resources and contacts with different groups in there. So who's to say these guys are safe any yard they go to? The only yard they may be safe to go to is either a dropout yard or a non-affiliated yard or possibly an MA Sureño yard. And even there, they may not be safe. And over there, they may have certain requirements or expectations because of past bloodshed. I mean, let's fast track or let's backtrack, excuse my language, how it was before skipping all them hit those yards back in the days. There was a lot of homeboys that would be on these yards from different areas, from Yakima, I mean, California, Idaho, Utah, right? That were just doing their programs, and they were coexisting with opposition out there in these yards, but they were only allowed to be 30 deep. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine if they'd be put on these yards? There's only 15, 20 of them on a yard with 400 dudes, and they're telling you guys to keep your shirts on. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's all going to come to what the federal guys and the feds are thinking with the state. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Take out the NF out the equation. You could put them on an MA Sureño, but does that mean that they're going to let them be out there? Because part of the issue that kicked off with skipping all them and happy at all these facilities in Sheridan and Kentucky and all that was because those dudes, as soon as they found out they were NF, the MA wanted to have them moved on. So you think these federal guys are going to feel different because these guys came from the state and they were coexisting with them? No, the MA has almost two different factions at this time, man. They have their state and they have their fed faction, but they're able to coexist to a certain extent. I mean, they even have their perpetual struggles, but they have their struggles within the state as well. So I honestly, man, like, this is a real controversial topic, man. And I've talked to a lot of guys who've done Fed time. Every one of them said that they're going to be put out there with their own people. They're not going to be separated, and that they're going to be put out there. That the only option they're going to have is either go out there and get in line and program, or drop out. And there's going to be those that are going to have it coming. We already know that there's going to be a few that, I mean, we've seen a lot of people who've salvaged their careers, man, that have made it back. But if they hit Tibbs over him just voicing his opinion and what he felt, what do you think he's going to do what do you think is going to happen to the main culprits that were behind that push?
We both know.
But then again, look what happened though. Stork did his state time before he went to the feds. And he was part of that push too. And somehow he was able to be cleared and walk those yards in the feds too. Let's take that into consideration.
I bet he reached out too when he found out and been like, hey, how can we rectify this, gentleman? Everything should always be able to be talked out, man. But there's also certain points, man, where lines are crossed that you can't jump back behind the line again, and
but those filters say it all. Those filters say it all, though, that they put out, the state put out, man. They've already deemed certain people no good and said that these dudes are no longer honorable C's. Not just Corny and Skip, but they talked about a whole lot of other individuals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's seen those filters from both sides. You know what I mean? The only ones that were being given consideration in this whole situation was basically DC. They were even going to give Chuco a little bit of the benefit. I think Cornell is the main one on the hot seat, but a lot of the blame is going to Chuco. I don't know why. I've seen a lot of dudes that are active or just dropped out. They've all blamed a lot of this issue on Chuco. They said his way of conducting the street regiment business and the changes that he made caused a lot of stir and a lot of things. And his desire to put all, like I said before, an ex-NF member of the Commons confirmed this. And I said this, that he wanted to put all the money into one nest. And we know from times in the past that never worked out well for us.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Not for us, for them. Excuse my language.
I don't know the specifics of what he had going on, man, but just touching on that, bro, that's a horrible idea.
They made the mandate. I mean, I can't, like I said, I've said this before. I've personally met him. I always thought he was a good, cool dude. Some of those cats I know, they were cool gente, but I don't know them on that politic level.
Right.
I mean, when politics come into play and everybody's campaigning and writing reports and they're using the law in their interpretation. See, that's where everything becomes a gray area. The laws are supposed to be black and white, but everybody tries to apply them in a gray fashion. Well, this is what it means instead of what it really means.
I'll tell you what, man, when you're in the process of joining that particular group, bro, you break down. I mean, I don't know how they did it back in the days when there were some people who couldn't read and write or whatnot, and it didn't matter because it was a different breed of human being back then. But from my personal experience, man, going to join that group, we broke down everything to the smallest microscopic sentence and period in that thing. And that's because right there in the Constitution, it says that no time is just to be misinterpreted. You know what I mean?
I get that, right? But how about
we do that on purpose? So if you mess up and try to put your own personal interpretation on it, you're accountable because during your schooling, you proved successfully that you understood what it
But
meant.
isn't that what they've done though?
Period.
Isn't that technically what they did? They put their own interpretation as soon as they got indicted in Operation Black Widow. I mean, honestly,
They do that
all the time.
daily, bro. Daily. You know? Yeah, it's a crazy situation, man. Another thing that I think about with this whole you know, where these gentlemen might end up is with these alliances that the guys in the feds, you know, have established, or at least the coexisting. Man, if it came down to somebody having to be got, could they ask another group for a favor
That's exactly what I just said a few minutes ago.
if they're not an institution? You know, that's bro. I mean, man, you wouldn't see no maybe. I don't want to say these people are involved, but let's say some Tri-City bombers. Let's say some Barrio Aztecas. Let's say some Latin Kings. Bro, you know, the guys coming now are at an extreme disadvantage, bro. They have no clue what's going on anywhere. It could come from anywhere if it was going to come. You know, it's a bad situation to walk into. And granted, like you said, it could be 3, 4, 5 years before all of this stuff plays out. And it could change immensely the whole scope of both perspectives and whatnot from either side. And things could be way different by the time, you know, housing's assigned. You know, it could be all good or even worse.
Let me ask you a question. Operation Black Widow, all those indicted, right? Hierarchy leadership, none of them flipped. This time, 7 of their tops have been indicted. Do you think any of these generals are going to flip?
Yeah.
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 More than one?
Just out of the top 7.
Oh, yeah, I think it'll be more. I'm talking about the generals at the top, bro. I'm putting you that.
That's a hard one, bro. I say 2 would be the over under, man, but I'm thinking 1 for sure. You know, 1. The point spread's 1.5.
There's only
We're
one
on
person
1.5.
you have faith in. There's only one person you have faith in. I know who that is.
And I could be wrong off that too.
You know what I mean?
You never know, but there's just absolutely nothing to gain other than potentially safe passage. But I'm knowing one of them's gonna just man down. There's no doubt. And then with all the rest of them, bro, there's people out there with significant information that's gonna flip too, and there's gonna be multiple of them.
There's going to be multiple indictments because of that too.
It's only the beginning, man. This is a huge.
See, that's the thing too. What people don't realize, when your information is being filtered within a chain of command, and you're involved in street operations, crew operations, all that's being filtered and processed. They know your whole cha-cha.
Yeah.
So if anybody higher than you flips and knows the whole rundown, you at risk. Trust me on that.
Hey, check this out, bro. Here's today's lesson. Any one of those wheelers are intercepted, any messages, any phone calls, any of that, you're not even on the hot seat, but bam, guess what? Based on that thing that they just intercepted, you're now part of an indictment as well. Because RICO is extremely broad, bro. And even if they don't have nothing on you except that piece of paper, they're gonna bring you in there, and they're gonna make you sweat and cry and trip and whatever the case might be, how you react. Just off one of these filters that are intercepted, they find a wheeler. Somebody hands over a wheeler. Your name wasn't even on the radar. Now, guess what? 3 months from now, you're getting some paperwork under your door from the United States Attorney's Office.
Truth, man.
Think about that, man, when you want to participate in these activities. You don't even got to get caught. You could be game tight. Now you're looking at a RICO.
Your best bet is to sit there, grab the popcorn, tune into the convict's perspective, and see what we're going to have next.
Yeah, go. Hey, get you a good job, work your way up through your company, establish your own company, make a living for yourself, man.
That's right.
You know, do it the right way. There's millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of other Americans and people throughout the world that do it without having to worry about RICO. Don't be one of the 0.003% that's going to end up with a damn RICO indictment because you wanted to be mas chingon. That's today's lesson. That's all. But yeah, back to this housing thing, bro. There's so many different things that can transpire. And we're addressing this because you guys asked. We really can't even say at this point. Maybe in a few months, maybe once, you know, the word gets out that this person did this, or if another filter comes out, you know what I mean, that explains what's currently going on, man, there's a lot of things that can transpire. And none of them are good. You know, that's what you guys need to realize when these options come up that you're not in control of.
Let's keep it real. There was accusations that they will go that saying that they will go down as the Bobo and Death Row Joe faction. History's repeating itself. Those are some serious allegations, man. So I'm just thinking about it, man. I don't know. Like I said, we don't know how this is going to play out, man. Like there's a whole lot of variety of things. They may never even hit the feds, man. No one's even putting that into consideration.
Yeah, no, it's possible, man. It seems like the federal government and the state governments can work out whatever they want, just in the fact that shows you right here that they're being housed in a federal institution without having been convicted of any federal crimes.
Now, will that be a governor decision?
I don't know. I'm sure at the very least the governor would have major input, but he can.
I think what it is they excommunicate their sentences, their life sentences, to allow the feds to pick them up. Yeah. I think that's exactly what happened in Operation Black Widow, you know, during their case. So I'm wondering, most of these guys are already doing life. Would that same procedure have to take place for them to get the feds?
I would think so, unless some law changed or something where.
Because look at even that individual Soldier Boy, he got fairly indicted. He hit the state. All kinds of people have been fairly indicted recently that are already doing time in the state, and what they're doing is they're letting you do your state time first, then do your federal time. So what makes this kind of it, that even Stork had to do his state time first before he did his federal time. So I think in order for the feds to pick them up, I think they have to have an agreement with the state because they're already doing time on existing charges.
And I think the reason that they did that with Black Widow was, you know, just whatever reason they thought that was going to more so disrupt the group. You know what I mean? And all that did. Now you just opened up the whole country.
And sometimes they make people go do their Fed time first and then come back and do their state time.
That would be the best case scenario for the state. You know, if they got indicted federally and after they finished their state time, they had to go to the feds. All them dudes got life or fucking 40 years, which is essentially life because they're all my age. You know what I mean? So that the only way the state could come out really, really well would be for a situation like that. You know, I mean, but does California want that? Like I was saying earlier, California is still headquarters, no matter what, because this is where 90% of the damn associates and allies are based for both groups. You know what I mean? So disrupting California makes the most sense still, as far as trying to harass the group. At the same time, with that said, the amount of manpower in California that can step up to fill these seats is extremely high as well. So does it really disrupt California? Oh, it throws a wrench in for a few months. There's so many unknowns, bro, and there's so many different ways to play it out. And it's really hard for me to look at it from a police or prison standpoint, man, because you never know what they're thinking, because although they know a lot of stuff, they don't understand the insides of these people, you know? So it's hard to say how they view it. They might look at Black Widow and be like, man, we fucked up. You know what I mean? Or they might think, damn, we did a great job.
There's one thing you're not considering.
What's that?
That the feds open up the door for all those seats that have been indicted, except for those ones that they want deemed no good.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Because there's only really.
I've said that before. I think that that's probably something that's being thought about right now, except for
because some of those people they were reaching out to before. There's a couple that they don't like. There's about 2 names in there, besides the generals. There's about 2 names that are mentioned that they were extremely standing against. You know what I mean? That are on that GC that got indicted. So I don't know about the remaining people. I think they could be reached out to. In fact, I think one of them was also in kind of trouble with the state because of their loyalty to the feds that got indicted in this indictment. I'm gonna follow up on that a little bit more, man. I don't want to put his name out there, man, but pretty much from the region I'm from.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario, like I said, is for them to pray that somehow they get indicted and go through all that and then return to the state. You know what I mean? But there's no telling what the opposition's thinking, and not the opposition as far as the feds, but I'm talking about the government.
You know what? I don't know what I would trust because they could sit there and tell you, hey, yeah, you know what? We can make amends on this. Come over here. Come over here. Next thing you know, you're getting whacked. It's happened before. Say
Don't
some of
look
these
at me
lower
getting
tier
trouble.
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they said I'll be good when I get to the feds. You know what I mean? And
You're
get
right.
over there, they're going to get booked, man. It's a no-win situation, man, because you don't know what's going to happen, man. There's some people in the feds that feel a strong way about things, man. And they've been very adamant about that. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways,
You know what I was thinking? Last thing, bro. The last thing I was thinking, the best way to avoid that, don't join the gang. You don't even got to think about that kind of stuff. Where am I going to be housed? Motherfucker, you're at your house because you're at work and you're paying your rent.
Rojo's positive message for the day. Don't join a gang.
Don't join a gang. Don't drink and drive. What we said earlier, don't drop the soap. Don't beat women.
You'd be all right. Don't
Life's
do drugs.
not that hard. Life
Just
is
get
not.
a job. Get a job.
It's not that hard.
Get a job. Take care of your family. And just do what you do. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be a man.
Yeah.
Be a leader of your own household, not a follower of a whole group.
And if you got to hustle, man, don't bother other people while you're doing it, and don't hurt people, and be willing to take, but hustle for you. Don't hustle for somebody else. I don't know. It's not, hey, is being an adult that hard now that we're doing what we need to do is working? It's not that hard. All right, YouTube, right as we were finishing up, we had a little technical difficulty, but nothing that we can't handle. This is your boy Rojo, man, with Big Flacco, man, and we just addressed this as you guys wished. And hopefully everybody's safe, have a productive week, and don't join gangs, and you don't have to worry about none of the stuff we talked about. Much love. We'll see you guys later.